Chapter 1. The Dream. It was January 2018. I was 24, drifting through life, hiding from responsibility, and pretending everything was fine. Deep down, I knew I was lost, but I didn't know how to change or where to begin. Then came a night that shattered my illusion. I had a dream so vivid, so real, it clung to me like morning dew. My late grandmother appeared, her face radiant, glowing like the sun. She looked at me, not with judgment, but with deep love and seriousness. Her eyes saw everything I had been running from. She spoke gently but firmly. "My child, go back to school. Make things right with your parents. It is not too late." Her voice carried a weight I couldn't shake. It echoed in my soul long after I awoke. I trembled as I sat up in bed, my heart racing. I couldn't pretend anymore. The dream felt like a message, a divine push I hadn't known I needed. That morning, I made a decision. I would stop running. I would face my truth, no matter how uncomfortable it was. Little did I know, this dream was not just a call to action. It was the beginning of a transformation. My life would never be the same again. Chapter 2. The Confession. I sat with my parents at the breakfast table, my hands cold with nervousness. The weight of guilt and shame rested heavy on my shoulders. For years I had lied, hidden things, and pushed them away. Now, I couldn't hide anymore. "I need to talk to you," I began. My voice trembled. They looked at me, puzzled. Slowly, the truth poured out. My failures, my lies, my regrets. My mother's eyes filled with tears. My father's face darkened with disappointment. For a moment, I thought I had destroyed everything, but I didn't stop. "I want to change," I told them. "I want to go back to school. I want to be better." My father was silent, his jaw tight. I braced myself for rejection, but then, slowly, his expression softened. There was no dramatic forgiveness, no sudden embrace, but there was something even more powerful, a chance. "All right," he said. "If you're serious, we'll help you." My mother nodded through her tears. It was a quiet moment, but one I would never forget. That morning, I was reborn, not through magic, but through truth. For the first time in a long while, I had hope. Chapter 3. Back to School. Returning to school felt like stepping into a storm. The halls were filled with young energy, confident chatter, and busy footsteps. I felt old, out of place, and unsure. I hadn't studied in years. The textbooks looked foreign. My mind resisted the discipline I once took for granted. Assignments overwhelmed me. My focus was scattered. Every time I failed a quiz or missed a deadline, I felt like giving up. "You're too old," a voice in my head whispered. "You'll never catch up." I fought that voice every day, but I wasn't alone. One of my lecturers noticed my struggle and offered support. Classmates helped me understand things I had forgotten. Slowly, I began to remember who I was before I lost my way. I wasn't dumb. I was just rusty. Still, the biggest battle wasn't the books. It was the war within me. My own self-doubt was my toughest enemy. But I kept showing up. Day by day, I began to see small victories. I passed a test. I finished an essay. I started to believe in myself again. The road was hard, but I kept walking. Something deep inside me had changed. I was no longer running away. I was running toward something. Chapter 4. A Familiar Face. In the midst of all the academic chaos, I reached out to someone from my hometown for help. He agreed to meet and offered to tutor me at his family's home. I was nervous at first, but also relieved to be around someone familiar. We sat at the kitchen table, books open, minds focused. It felt good to have someone patient and understanding nearby. I could finally ask questions without feeling stupid. I felt safe there, like I didn't have to pretend to be okay. As we studied, a woman walked in, speaking on the phone. She carried herself with grace, her voice calm but powerful. She spoke about a young woman, one who had stumbled, fallen, but eventually rose, found success, and married well. I froze. Her words echoed in my chest. Something inside me whispered, "They are talking about you." But how could that be? I shook the thought off. I was no one's success story. Not yet. Still, the moment stayed with me. It was as if the universe was speaking again, reminding me of who I could become. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't all for nothing. That day, the seed of hope grew just a little deeper in my heart. Chapter 5. The books before I left, the woman who had been speaking handed me 2 books. One was titled The Law of Attraction, the other, Positive Attitude. "Start here," she said kindly, "and do one small thing. Write down 5 things you like and 5 things you done tea." It sounded simple, almost childish, but when I sat down to do it, I froze. What did I like? What did I dislike? I stared at the blank page for what felt like hours. The truth hit me hard. I didn't even know myself. Eventually, I wrote something. My favorite color, my dislike for loud places, small things, but it was a beginning. I started carrying those books with me. I read a few pages every day. Slowly, they began to change how I thought about life and about myself. The idea that my thoughts could shape my future felt powerful, even revolutionary. I began to notice my inner dialogue and shift it when it turned negative. I learned to speak gently to myself. This was the beginning of a spiritual awakening, not through religion, but through awareness. I was no longer just surviving. I was starting to live, with intention.